What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. Welcome to the SEO video show. Thank you for stopping by on this Friday afternoon, Friday morning, Saturday morning, maybe for some. All right. Today's topics, we got some good stuff going on today. Let me pull this, make sure we have this up here. We'll have some epic content marketing tips and some Web3 SEO. This is going to be some fun stuff with our man, Brian W. Piper. If you're just joining now, don't forget to say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're from. Ernesto. Let me see here. All right, let me see if I can pull up your guys' comments. Happy Friday again, y'all. Just making sure I'm getting everything ready here. Can't see this. All right. See Brian in the back room. Thanks everyone for coming. Gonna be a great conversation. We got less than 2 minutes to go, or about less than 3 minutes to go. Be sure to say hi in the live chat and where you're from. We'll be talking about epic content marketing tips. We have also Web3 SEO, something that I haven't covered on the show before. And if you guys are not familiar, this I've lost the book, the actual case of this, but this is the original epic content marketing book back in 2014. So if you haven't, what we have here, we have the co-author, Brian W. Piper, who's going to kind of talk about this. This was published back in 2014. Oh, there we go. We have the new one. Brian, show me the new one in the back. Is that the? Oh, that's the old one. Is that the? All right, so that's the cover. Yeah, I'm missing that cover. All right, so
new cover.
There we go. All right, guys, less than 2 minutes to go. Ethan, my man, happy Friday from Tampa. Ethan, I don't know if you got my email. I actually sent out the book, the SEO in 2020 book, to your, I think your old address out in Denver. You have a 2023 book coming out. I'll be sure to get that to you when that comes out. Stefan, my man, welcome. Carol, happy Friday. Dre and Brian from Seattle, Washington. Hello, Carol. Fletcher, what's up, my man? We see Ernesto is back. What's up, fellas? All right, guys, we got less than 1 minute to go. Be sure to put your shouts outs in and let me know where you're from. While I get things ready here, I'll see you on the other side. Again, today's topics, we'll be talking about epic content marketing tips and Web3 SEO.
Get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey!
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the content strategist of University of Rochester, Brian W. Piper. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone. Chat, I see Ethan, Stefan, Carol, Fletcher, Nesto. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. What is a black hat's SEO's favorite food? Spam.
The July 2022 product ranking update was released this past week, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to complete. There are about 14 best practices in Google Search Central, so check out the link in the description. Okay, Matt Diggity is at it again, sharing more link building tips this week. Let's check one out.
And that's simply answering your inbox. As you very well know already, your email inbox gets spammed 200 times per day from people trying to get a link from your website. A lot of the time, these are from crappy sites, but a lot of the time, they're from great sites with high domain ratings and traffic. So here's what you do. Instead of ignoring these outreach requests, respond to the people with websites that you'd want a link from and ask for a link exchange. Just look at all these amazing links. I'll let you guess how many of them were landed simply because I decided to take a look at who wanted a backlink. Now, many people are concerned about link exchanges and whether or not they're against Google's guidelines. Well, here are the Google guidelines on link exchanges. They say excessive link exchanges, link to me and I'll link to you, are listed under what they call link schemes. The keyword here is excessive. As long as you don't do this too much and make it your primary link building technique, for crying out loud, you'll be fine.
Now, who would have thought? I'm guilty of just glazing past these emails and LinkedIn messages, so I'll start checking up a few and see if I can find some gold nuggets there. Okay, how's your success been with these type of methods from link suppliers? Comment below or leave a description in the live chat. Okay, Eric Sue reminds us how we should think about titles and meta descriptions. Let's check this one out.
Thinking about the title and the meta description, right? So this seems like a duh thing, but this is where, when you actually think about copywriting goes a long way, because what copywriting does, David Ogilvy has said that once you have written your headline, you've spent 80 cents on the dollar already. So your title matters quite a bit, not just from an SEO perspective, not in terms of just having the keyword in there, but also, is your title enticing enough to get people to click? Because if it's not, then if they don't click, then ultimately it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're losing out on that traffic, right? Same thing also applies to SEO in the world of YouTube. You have to have a very good title as well. This is why YouTubers obsess over the titles, and they also obsess over the thumbnails as well. YouTube's obviously part of Google. It's the #2 search engine in the world, so you got to think about that as well if it makes.
I'd say I've been working on my headline skills for the past couple of years. It's one thing that you get ranking on page 1, but if you can't get people to click on your link, I mean, what's the point, right? Okay, a book I highly recommend is Hook Points by Brenda Kane to actually learn more about some kind of great writing tactics and how you can hook your people on the first 3 seconds of your videos and write some great titles. Okay, let's see here. Sam O shares a video on how to promote your YouTube videos to increase your YouTube SEO. Let's check this one out.
Number 1, share your videos on sites like Reddit and Quora. Now, rather than just spamming video links, it's best if you provide some value, seeing as your video will likely be educational to a certain extent. And again, you'll want to make sure that they're added in relevant subreddits and answers, because the people who click it actually need to watch it. Number 2, consider running YouTube search ads for your target query. Basically, you just need to set up an ad campaign and bid on your target query. And with a budget of $5 to $15 per day, you can actually get quite a significant number of views for the money. And the third tactic is to pay for sponsored newsletters. Now, we've only done this a couple of times, but we had some decent spikes in subscribers for a pretty low cost. The key is finding relevant sponsored newsletters that have your target audience and promoting a video that will appeal to the majority. For example, if you have a YouTube channel on toddler parenting, then you might consider reaching out to sites like Baby Center or The Bump. And the video you promote might be one on how to deal with tantrums, because it's a common struggle that parents with toddlers go through.
If you're not dabbing into video ads, I will put something. I'm gonna get ready for something I will be putting together for you guys on video SEO and advertising. On one content strategy that has proven to drive a lot of traffic and virality are memes. This past week, Trung Fan was recently on Kevin Indig's TechBound channel to share his process on creating memes. Let's check this one out.
No, I can tell you, you can train yourself to make good memes. And the way you do it is this. You go to imgflip.com. You know that website that has all the meme templates, or download the Mematic app. Visualize what all the meme templates are, right? Because every meme template explains, as you noted, a human behavior. Like the most famous meme template is probably the one of the guy holding one girl's hand and then looking at the other girl, right? And what abstract away, what is that actually saying, right? It's that your attention is averting to a new shiny object. So anytime that event happens, right, where there's a new shiny object, you need to map that joke onto that meme. But there's like that for everything. You can definitely have a roster of meme templates ready. Now the question is, do you have taste, right? And that's the other part of it. Can you actually craft the language in it that makes it funny? That's where the humor is. I don't know if that can necessarily be taught, but you can be taught and you can learn to have this roster of meme templates. So,
speaking of content, this brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask all your content marketing questions in the live chat and I will address them in the order that they were received. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell while I get things ready here.
Brian has been optimizing digital content since 1996. He has helped discover the data-inspired insights to make your business succeed. He's an author, speaker, Web3 enthusiast, and educator. He understands the complexities of digital content, data, and communication. He is the co-founder and co-author of the second edition of the famous epic content marketing book. Please welcome Brian W. Piper.
Brian, my man, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dre. That was a fantastic intro. I love your energy on this show.
Thank you again. Congrats on the new being a co-author of Epic Content Marketing Book.
Thank you.
I mean, we'll go through the process and stuff, what's in there in a few seconds, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you right away, in 1 minute or less, how does Brian get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Well, the best way to do it is to work with websites that have a high domain authority, and that's kind of a give me. But if you can't do that, if you're just working on regular everyday websites that are out there, the key is writing good content that answers questions that people are asking, and then looking at the data and going back and optimizing it over and over.
Love it. First knowledge bombs of today. Okay. Let me hold and rewind this real quick. Brian, you gotta take us way back into the time. When did you first get into SEO?
Back in 1996, I started off as a website developer, and I wasn't a very talented website developer. I wasn't a very good website developer, so they said, let him do this web positioning stuff. It's kind of an add-on that we're doing. It's never going to be that much. It's not going to amount to that much. And at the time, that was search engine optimization as it was.
Love it. So, I mean, what made you actually interested in it then?
Well, back at the time, you know, it was Lycos and Alta Vista. I was an editor for DMOZ, which was a human-powered search engine.
Oh, yeah.
And I just loved being able to work with content that people had already created and figure out ways to just watch the traffic start coming in. You could massage the content, you could play with it a little bit, you could add words, take out words, and then you would see organic traffic just start spiking. And if their traffic was tied to their business goals and their website were tied to business conversions, and you could actually see the business start to succeed just because of changing some words on the site. It was very powerful.
Love it. You mentioned DMOZ. That takes us way back, and that's like everyone wanted a link from that website. I mean, come on now, tell us, like, were people trying to pay you to like add them in there? How'd that go? How was that process like there?
No, they would give you a list of 20 or so websites to review every week, and you just go in and look at it and judge what you thought of the content and how you thought it should rank, and put your own personal opinion in there. They had several different people who would all put in their judging their score for a particular website, and then they'd calculate all of those together and figure out where that site should show up on the rankings. And very rarely would I go to a site that I actually knew or had been to before. So it was a great way to discover new websites and new content that was being created.
Love it. I mean, I remember there were services back then. Hey, I'll get you in that directory. I was like, man, I want to get in there, because it was always one of those stats that everyone looked at, like, oh, are they in the directory? Are they in there? Yeah, I mean, man, you could have had a little side gig going on there.
Yeah, I know. I did know a few other editors that did that promoted that as in their specific field or in the area that they were in.
Mm. All right. So I want to take us now to like how'd you actually learn SEO?
Yeah, I mean, at the time there weren't a lot of resources back when it first started, so it was mostly on the job and trial and error and trying to figure out. There were some, IRC chat rooms that were available and a few forums that for particular software that already existed at the time where you could go in and get some clues. But other than that, it was a lot of figuring it out on the job.
Love it. You're taking me way back. I think we're the same age, because I remember all that stuff. I was on the MIRC and all that Yahoo AIM. I don't know if people is AIM still around? That's Instant Messenger, right?
So. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I want to go. Was there anyone that you followed? I mean, I know you said there wasn't that many people around, but was there anything that you kind of like? What were your resources though?
Yeah, early on, Matt Cutts was around, and he was working for Google at the time. So he was a perfect resource. He would give you real information that would really help everybody figure out what was working and how things were being indexed. So that was amazing. And then, as time went on, Andy Crestodina, Neil Patel, Aleta Solis, there were just huge people that really got into it. And really, that's when I started getting into the analytics and the data side of it as well, and not just the keyword optimization end of it.
Got it. Okay, so I want to go into like where you're at now. So like you've take us through a journey from when you learned it, and now you're at the content strategy, director of content strategy at University of Rochester, and then you became the co-author of the book, which we'll get into. So tell us like your journey into becoming the content strategist director at University of Rochester.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was a developer for a while, then I was doing SEO for a while. I did some e-learning at a couple different agencies. I did a short stint in traditional marketing. And then back in 2014, I was working for a defense contracting company. I read the first edition of Epic Content Marketing, and I thought, wow, you can sell things by telling stories and by giving people knowledge, and this ties right into SEO. So at the time, I walked right over to the VP of marketing. I said, you need to pay me to be your digital marketing manager. And she took a chance on me, and she did. And I worked for them for 4 more years and did all sorts of great work with optimizing their content and really focusing their content strategy. And we grew 100 to 200% in our organic traffic every year that I was there. And that kind of got me in the door at the university. And now in higher ed, we're all about pushing, innovative research content that we have. So it's great. It's an opportunity to work with brilliant scientists and figure out different ways to promote that. And when I got into that, that's when I really started going to content marketing world. I was presenting, I was doing workshops and doing SEO training for different institutions. And that's when I started talking with Joe Polizzi, who started Content Marketing Institute and put on Content Marketing World. And that kind of evolved into a friendship over the years. And then last year after the conference, I said to him, hey, Joe, when are you going to do a second edition of Epic Content Marketing? And he said, co-author it with me and let's do it.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. I mean, that's cool. I mean, this is like a very, I guess, an iconic book in content marketing, right? Like this is what everyone kind of referred to, and you to even bring that up, that's so cool. With that, so that's the original one, right? That's also the original one. That's with the right cover, and there's gonna be a new cover. And so I'm curious, when will
I have my name right here.
Yeah, when will it be there? I mean, when's this one coming out?
So it's coming out the beginning of 2023. We just saw the cover art yesterday for the first time, and then we're getting our first draft of it in probably early October to do final reviews and send it out to a few key people to read and give reviews on it. And then early 2023, it'll be out to the public.
Love it. Okay, so now let's get into the book. Let's get into some of the meat of the book of what you have on there, because I know there's some stuff. A lot of the stuff that's in the original book going to be in there, or is it totally be rewritten? Like, what's going on? Tell us what's going to be in there and some strategies that you're going to be sharing.
Yeah. So when Joe and I first started talking about it, we said, well, let's just update the statistics and some of the stories and the case studies, and it will take out Google Plus. We'll add in TikTok, and then once we started going through the content, we're like, maybe we just scrap the whole thing and just start all over again. But then we started taking it chapter by chapter, and we're like, no, this is really good. This all still really applies. Great content. So we left about maybe half of the book is original that we just updated. We added fresh content in there around case studies. We updated the social channels. We put in new tips and tricks for optimization. And then I created a whole new section just on optimizing using your data, looking at your data, and that's kind of my wheelhouse. And then we added a whole new section in on AI and machine learning, and then 2 chapters, brand new chapters on Web3 and how that can go into content marketing, content entrepreneurs.
Love it. Okay, so I want to let's dive into it. Can you talk about like some of the things of your wheelhouse? You mentioned, like you said, you talk about data. So what about data? How can we use this in our content marketing?
So one of the things I always tell people is first you have to know your strategies and your goals, right? That's the most important thing. And you've got to make sure that your analytics are set up to track against those. And then once you have that going, then you can start looking at your data, looking at data over time and seeing how it's performing, what content's working, what's not, what audiences are responding to which content. And then you can really narrow it down and really look at making your content as effective as it can be, making sure that it's reaching the right audiences. And it's so easy to go back at content that's been out on the website for a year and say, what terms is it ranking for? How can we optimize it? Do we need to create this as a pillar page and create other supporting content around it that'll ladder up to that? So then we create this wheelhouse of knowledge that really focuses on Google's EAT algorithm. So we're the experts. We've got the authority and the trust that people are looking for. And that just keeps pushing you to the top of the ranking. And if you start targeting those, high volume keywords, it's easy to drive a ton of organic traffic.
Love it. Using that data. Can you give us some examples of like something that you would look at so we can kind of apply it really quickly for if we have analytics set up in our sites?
Sure. Well, so at the University of Rochester, we had a piece that had come out that was, I think the original title was "Scientists Use Techno Signatures to Look for Life on Other Planets." So it has started to rank. It had started to show some organic potential. We were in there. I noticed that it was getting consistent organic traffic. So then I went into SEMrush. I looked at what keywords it was ranking for. One of the top terms it was ranking for were "Do aliens exist?", which was getting like 200,000 views a month. So we changed the title of the article. "Do aliens exist?" Changed some of the content in the article. Still the same story. Had the same message, featured the same research, but now we're getting 10 to 20,000 visits a month just because people want to know if aliens are real.
Love it. Okay. So I'm curious, you mentioned, you said you updated with some content on TikTok. So this book is not just about writing blogs or anything like that, right? Because you mentioned TikTok, so I'm assuming that you're talking about all types of content. Can you kind of go over some types of content that this book goes over?
Yeah, I mean, the whole gamut of content. So it covers everything from digital content, your podcast, YouTube channels, TikTok, Instagram, all of those. And then it even covers, content marketing can even be presenting at a conference. That's content that you're putting out there to an audience. It's all content marketing.
From that type of content, like what would you say like is like probably what we should be focusing on like right now? Like, I mean, like, I know you updated it. I mean, there's tons of content. I know there's like the videos and stuff like that. So what's some of the things to focus on in the book, and then you can possibly give us some tips on?
Yeah, I mean, really the beginning of the book is still the essentials of figuring out your strategy, knowing who your audience is, knowing what you're trying to get them to do. You got to figure out what action you want them to take that's going to support your business goal, your end goal. Then you have to create content that helps them get to that point, either answers questions that they're asking or makes something easier for them or educates them about something that's going to help them solve their problems, help them do something easier. And when they see that you're a resource that can actually help them and make their lives easier and add value to them, then they're going to buy what you're selling or, you know, take whatever offer you're putting out there.
Love it. Okay, so one of the things that we always that you also mentioned is like, you know, figure out your audience, right? Like find out that audience persona. I mean, we always hear that like with other people saying like, you know, the type of content you should write for your audience. Like, but we never figure out like, how do we determine our audience? Like, how can one like figure out who their audience is? Like, what are some tips to determine the audience so you can write the right content for them?
Well, a whole chapter of the book is all on developing your personas. And we talked with Adele Ravel, who's the head of the Buyer Persona Institute. And it's all about talking to your customers. I mean, you can do surveys, you can look at your demographics. None of those really tell you the story as much as talking to the people who you're trying to connect with, reaching out, talking to your customers, say, hey, can I spend 5 minutes with you on the phone? I just want to ask you some questions, figure out why you purchased from us or why you didn't purchase from us. I know at the university we do that when people apply. Now we've got their information. If they decide not to enroll, then we go back to them and say, what were your decision factors? What could we do differently? And if they do decide to enroll, then we say, why did you choose us? What gave us the edge over somebody else? And once you really understand how they're doing their research, what goes into their decision-making process, then you can really start focusing on creating a message and adding content that answers those questions and makes them realize that you're the right choice.
Love it, dropping all these knowledge bombs here, but I want to also take it back to, because you said speaking is also content, like you're speaking at conferences, and I'm curious because you're a speaker, and how can someone even get into speaking? Like the Content Marketing Institute, that's actually a pretty big conference, right? Like how were you able to get, be a guest, speaker at the event?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. If you go to a couple events, find an event where the content matches your wheelhouse, where you go and you watch somebody. I was watching people present on stage, go, I understand. I know everything they're talking about. I could do that. And start with some smaller industry conferences. I started speaking at higher ed conferences where they're looking for speakers. They're looking for presenters. I spoke at some local Toastmaster events just to work on my presentation skills. Once you start putting applications out there, they start seeing your name, they start recognizing you. You'll be surprised how many speaking opportunities will pop up.
Love it, guys. You mentioned Toastmasters. I mentioned Toastmasters before here on the show. It's a club, and they're usually everywhere around the world. You can look in your local, go to toastmasters.org and see if there's one close by, because I highly recommend it. It's what actually pushed me to do this actual podcast. I mean, I was so shy in front of the camera and public speaking, and I learned how to public speak within Toastmasters. So Toastmasters and some mastermind groups that helped me actually develop this SEO video show. So check out Toastmasters. Okay, so I wanted to go into some of the content that you speak at. I mean, the content that you use to speak at when you speak at the conferences. What was the latest one that you recently spoke, or you're going to speak at one? But what are some of the content that you actually speak on at the conferences?
I do a lot of speaking on how to use data to optimize your content, how to reform your content strategy based on your data, how to make sure that your website is performing well. And I've started speaking recently on Web3, using NFTs to build community. I'm presenting at NFT London in November. So a lot of data, a lot of analytics, and then most of the workshops that I run are SEO workshops or keyword research workshops.
Love it. Okay, so I want to go into an interesting topic now, because this is something that you also mentioned that you're going to talk about in the book, is Web3. Optimization for Web3. No one on this show has ever spoken about Web3 SEO, Web3 content optimization. First of all, can you explain for the audience, what is Web3 content?
Absolutely. So Web3 is kind of the next iteration of the internet. Web3 is blockchain powered. So the blockchain is a database. It's a public, very secure, non-changeable database that lives out in the world. There's lots of different blockchain databases out there. But those blockchain provide opportunities to create new technologies. It powers things like cryptocurrencies and NFTs, social tokens, the metaverse. Those are all blockchain layered applications. So what Web3 provides us with is the opportunity to actually own digital assets for the first time. So we can own digital property that does all sorts of things. And people are just figuring out how to leverage all of these and how to use these. You can use tokens or NFTs to gate certain areas within your community. You can reward people in your community for taking certain actions, or even just for coming into your community. You can give somebody some tokens. You can store information in there, and you can have your users actually control their own data. So Estonia is an interesting use case because they've started switching all of their government data to the blockchain back in 2007. So everything in Estonia runs on the blockchain as far as data storage. If you want to switch your medical records from one provider to the other, you just go into your digital ID, you turn off access to one hospital, you turn on access to another hospital. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to reach out to your doctor, see if they can send your medical records over. It takes them about 5 minutes to do their taxes at the end of the year because everything's stored publicly where it can easily be reached and accessed. So it's changing a lot in marketing. It's changing a lot across a lot of different industries and creating all sorts of new opportunities that didn't exist before.
Got it. All right, so now tell us, like, how do we optimize this? I mean, what kind of content is getting pushed out that we can optimize? I mean, yeah, because you talk about like NFTs and crypto. I mean, are you just talking about like websites on them, or like what type of content?
So it's a lot of it's going to change, right? Web 2 is very centralized, right? You have Twitter, they control, you give them your data, your content, and they decide who gets to see it, who gets your advertising, what data you get to look at. Web 3 is all about decentralizing that process. So now you've got communities that own their own data that can figure out how they want to distribute content, and users get to decide how they want to consume content, what content that they want to allow people to deliver to them. So you can think about a CRM that's powered by a Web3 website. You go onto the site and it's just a blank page. It says connect your digital wallet, and you connect your wallet, and now it can look at whatever information you want to share with that website that'll help personalize your experience. But there's still going to be search engines. People are still going to need to find data out there. They may just be finding it within these smaller communities. So instead of going to Google and searching the entire world of internet knowledge that's out there to find out something about cars, you're going to go into, the Drive community where they're specifically dealing with cars, and you can search within that community, and then you can get the information that you want that's relevant to what your search is. There's still going to be search needed, even in the metaverse, right? A virtual VR environment where you're walking around, you're still going to need to be able to find place to access data, to learn new things. Now, whether that's, voice search powered, now you got to start thinking about making sure that your SEO focuses on voice search so that people just asking their search avatar that they're calling up in the metaverse is going to give them that right information. You still need to create quality content that answers the questions that people are asking.
Excellent!
You can bring up a good point on that one, because I mean, if you are like on your little Oculus and you're talking and you have your mic there, it's like it's hard to bring up the typing thing, because when I'm on my it's hard to type on that. So you would want a voice search. Hey, you can bring up a really, really good point there, and that can bring voice search back hard. Oh wow, nice. All right, so I saw a question come in from the live chat here. We have one from Stefan. He goes, hi Brian, what do you think about AI generated content?
I'm a big fan of leveraging AI technologies. Now, AI is not at the point where it's going to be writing all of your blog posts and have great, epic content created. But AI is at the point where you can feed in general content ideas. It'll spit out a great first draft that then you can go in, you can personalize it, you can put your own spin on it, you can put your personal stories in there and really make it valuable content that talks to a user. I haven't seen any AI generated content come out yet that has any of that kind of human feel to it, which is so important, especially in the content that's out there today. It's important to do something to set your content apart from everything else that's out there. It's a very busy content landscape.
Love it. All right, let's see. I want to go, if you guys, anyone else have questions, please ask them in the live chat while I'm coming down to my last couple questions here. But I want to go into something what I was talking about, what I brought up earlier in the show on copywriting and like headlines. Like what is your take on headlines? I mean, as a content marketer, how do you write your titles and stuff like that to get people to like look at your content?
Well, I'm a big fan of Ann Handley. She wrote a book called Everybody Writes, which is a fabulous, amazing writing resource. And she talks a lot about, how to write headlines that are really going to capture the reader and bring them in. And that's what I tell all of our content creators at the University of Rochester. I say, write those clever titles, those titles that, the clickbaity titles that are going to pull people in. I'm going to make the URL a keyword-rich, search-focused piece of the content. But you go ahead, you write your title. That title is yours for the first month. You're going to promote it. You're going to send it out there in your newsletters or on your social posts. After a month, I own that title. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to optimize it for the search engines. That's where you're going to start seeing more of that traffic coming in.
Love it. Okay, we got one more question that came in through the live chat here. It's from Stefan, other Stefan. All right. Is there a framework you use when you're approaching content marketing for a space or industry you're unfamiliar with?
Yeah, I mean, the content marketing framework is still very consistent no matter what industry it is. The first thing I always do is try to educate myself as much as I can about that industry. I'll go do keyword research. Answer the Public is a great place to go find out what questions people are asking about a particular industry. SEMrush, Moz, Ahrefs, they all have tools in there that'll give you a list of questions about that industry. And then you'll go and you'll look on the existing content that has, within that site and see what's already ranking and make sure that whatever you're going to optimize tied to strategic goals. So it's the same framework. Figure out what existing content you have that's working and that's strategically relevant, and then look at potential new content that you can put out that's going to answer users' questions. There's a company that's a case study in the book, River Pools and Spas. Back in 2009, they were almost out of business. They were a fiberglass pool installer. It was hard times in the economy. People weren't trying to get new pools built in. So they said, let's change things. Let's just go online. We're just going to answer questions that people ask. We're going to put all of these on our website. 2 years later, they were the largest fiberglass manufacturer, largest fiberglass pool installer in North America. And now they manufacture their own custom fiberglass inserts. And they're one of the largest pool installers in the world.
Love it. Okay, I didn't see any other questions come in here, but I wanted to go ahead and ask my last question to ask all my SEO professionals that come in here. I mean, if someone wants to become an SEO professional themselves and get into the SEO industry, what would your advice be to them?
Do lots of research, play around, find some sites that you can work on for friends or some free work that you can do for small company sites and see what works, see what doesn't work. There's a ton of knowledge out there. Find some influencers that you can follow. I love Andy Crestodina. He posts all sorts of amazing content. Dre, your show is fantastic. If somebody wants to get into SEO, they should come watch some of your shows, see some episodes. I learn something every week in here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Thank you for letting us know all that great information, dropping all those knowledge bombs. If there's any, like, how can people get a hold of you? Please let us know. If you rap, sing, play an instrument, if you want to do it at the end of the show, let me know. But yeah, the stage is yours right now.
Yeah, brianwpiper.com. I also am the founder of PiperCoin. It's a social token that's out there. So you can go to my website. You can learn how to buy some of that. Come into my community. I share knowledge every day in there. Any social channel, Brian W. Piper, come find me and connect. I'm always looking for opportunities to collaborate and work with other people and help you optimize your content.
Love it. So no song?
No song. You do not want me to sing.
All right, Brian. Can you hold on for one quick second when I sign off real quick? Hold on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg.
All right, guys. That concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And until next time, I will see you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, cause the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!